Hi there. Today we are going to see how to hide the message that's showing all the time. So I have this message here that every time the user logged in, it's showing. But I want to filter that based if there's a record or not. Um, so in this case here, for this user, for this object questionnaires, I have no records. And then the message is showing all the time. So I want to filter this message to hide when I have a record or show when I have no records. So then the user can fill the questionnaire. Um, okay, so right now, as you can see here, if I fill that, the message is gonna show again, and I do have a record. So there's no filter there. So I'm gonna delete this. And the way we can do is to create a data source. So I'm gonna create a data source here. I'm gonna say load when there is questions. And I'm gonna choose the questionnaire object. And here I'm gonna change this to, because I don't need the record. What I have there is the student ID. So I'm gonna get the student because I want to load a specific to that user if there's a record. So, and I'm gonna choose here the logged in user ID. If that was a contact connected to the user, I could use that because a community user has a contact linked. So we can use that, but this is the user ID, the student. So I'm gonna use this. So basically here we are going to load this filter, this object, when the user match the student, when there's a record on the questionnaire for this ID here, for this user logged in. That's what this data source is doing. Now I want to change my filter, my message, add a filter when show message when that data source is empty. That is the logic that we want. So I think I have two there. So let me just, because I was testing before, so let me a v2 here. Data source and then v2. Okay, so, and this is not the option because this would show when I do have records. And that's not what we want. We want to show the message when there's no record. So I have to choose or this or this. So I'm gonna choose this because we have just one object there on the data source, and that should do it. So now if I refresh my page, I don't have a record, so it shows. And if I put test1, the message hide, and if I reload again, the message doesn't show anymore because I do have a record here. So that's how you can use the data source. But let's imagine now I do have a record here, and I want to, but it's empty, the question, right? Let's say that the object has a record there, but it's empty, the question there. So this field here, it's a text area field. So, and if we try to go to the data source and add that question one, it shows the message here that we cannot support that. But one thing you can do is to create another field that's not a text area field that gets updated when there's no data here. Let's say now we want to show the message when this field is empty. So it's two options. So when there is a record, we don't want to show the message. But if there is a record and this field is empty, we would like to show the message as well. Okay, so the way we can do this is to create another field. And I did create the other field already. I just created a checkbox called show message on that object. So that was the first step. The second step is to create a flow that on update, when a record is created or updated, we are going to check that record, and we are going to say show message when that question is equal to empty, or we are going to hide the message for this other outcome. So the first outcome here is just check if the question is empty. Then we do this outcome, which is going to set the field, the show message to true. And if the field is not empty, so it would go to the hide message, we would also set the show message to false. And that's it. So, and that's what I have here. So right now it's empty. It's showing the show message here. So if I fill anything here, that's one. It hides. So now I can use this show message into my data source. So let me go back here to the user. So right now the user is not seeing the message because I have a record. But what I'm gonna say is, if I have I just want records that it's false here as well, right? So let me go back here and change this to show. Oops, let me delete that. It seems like there's a bug there. Show message, there you go. So, so show is false and then save. So now this data source is gonna load when I have a record for this user, and the show message is false because I have the inverse logic on the builder saying that if it is empty, the data source, which means that there is no record, or the show message is true, then we show the message. It's the inverse logic. Okay, so let's see if that works. So I'm gonna delete and reload. I should see the message. Yes, I'm seeing. If I leave it empty, and then reload again, I should see the message, and I'm seeing. And also I have a record here, right? And I have the show message, so that's why I'm seeing the message. If I fill that, I will see, I believe, because we do have a record still. I thought no. Okay. So let me just refresh again. Yeah. So now probably it's getting the data source is getting the first one, and that is matching because we do have a record that the user doesn't need to see that anymore, even though it's duplicated, but that data source is returning data, and it's returned this record here, which tells the message should not show. Basically, that's the flow. That's how you can use the data source to filter a message, to show or hide a message based on the logged in user information. If you have any questions, let me know. There's more you can do with the data source. I will show you in other videos as well. Thank you very much.